Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to go over bar chords and how to find them, how to use them, and kind of how they work. Okay, but there's a couple things that you need to make sure is that in order to make for this lesson to kind of make sense to you, you need to make sure that you go back and do my. There's two lessons that you need to make sure that you understand. One is how to find notes on the neck. If you're not familiar with finding notes on the neck of the guitar, go back and watch my video on finding notes on the neck because you're going to need to be able to do that. And then the other thing is that you need to have probably a basic understanding of kind of the major scale. Maybe go watch my video on the major scale, and then also you need to also know how to play your open chords. So basically what a bar chord is what we're doing is we're taking the open chords that you should at this point already pretty much know. So you've got, there's three open chords, three types of open chords that are kind of the base, that kind of make up the most important chords that you could probably start with. Those are the major chords, the minor chords, and the seven chords, okay? So the majors, minors, and sevens, A through G. So if you know those chords, A through G, major, minors, and sevens, and all you're basically doing is you're taking those open chords that you already know how to play, and then you're just moving them up the neck, okay? So that's why they're called movable chords. A lot of times bar chords are referred to as movable chords, is because that's basically what you're doing, is you're just taking those open chords and right up the neck, okay? So there's a couple things that I want you to understand, okay, that I think will help you to understand how to find these and how to do these a little bit better. But you'll notice up here I've kind of broken down a chord into two parts, okay? There's this side, which is the E side, which is basically the root note of the chord, which, remember that the root note is the note that defines the chord, it defines the scale, defines, basically whatever it is that we're doing. It's a number one, it's the tonic, and it's the note that's typically the most important one to know where they are on the neck. And that's also the reason why it's really, really important to be able to find notes on the neck, is because this right here, this root note, is what you're going to be looking for when you're playing up on the neck with bar chords and stuff like that, to know where you are and what you're doing, which is why being able to find notes on the neck is paramount. You've got to be able to do it, okay? So this is the root note side. This could be an A or a B or a C or whatever we want this to be, whatever our root is basically, okay? This side over here is what we call the chord type side, okay? So this would be, if we're looking at this would be the minor side. So this is a minor chord, okay? This is the type of chord that we're playing, okay? If you're familiar with the number system and the major scale and those kinds of things and kind of how to find things, you'll also know that there's a formula that goes with these chords over here. So like a minor chord is a 1 flat 3 5. That's the formula. This is an absolute or significant to this type of a chord. All minor chords, it doesn't matter whether I'm playing an A minor, an E minor, a D minor, whatever, it will always have this same formula, which is a 1 flat 3 5, which is referring to the minor chord, okay? So if you can just kind of get this in your mind, you have the root note side, which is the note, which is the E, and then you have the type side, which is the minor chord. So you have E minor, okay? It could be E major or E7 or E, suspended 2 or whatever. This chord over here, this type, they're kind of the same, but they're not. They're kind of separated. So if you can kind of separate the ideologies between these two things, it will really, really help you to understand kind of what you're doing on the neck and how to find things on the neck, okay? Okay, so that being said, keep this thought. We're gonna move over here now to the guitar, and I'm gonna explain to you kind of how to take that information now and to apply it, so that when you're playing bar chords and things like that, you know where you are and what you're doing and things like that, okay? So if the first thing that we want to do is learn how to do what's called the pinch, okay? The pinch, when we play a bar chord, basically what we're basically doing is we're using our index finger as basically the nut, okay? So normally I would play like an E major like this, okay? So, but now what we're going to do when we play bar chords is we're going to take the index finger and it's going to like become our nut basically, and then we're going to play the chord behind that. So you'll notice that I have to kind of change my fingers up a little bit. This is where the pinky finger starts to become more valuable, more important, okay, because you're going to have to start using it a little bit more. Okay, so this would be the E major chord, okay, and then if I place my finger right here on the nut, this now becomes the bar, and then basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start shifting this up the neck, okay? I'm going to take that open chord of E major and I'm just going to start moving it, okay? But so let's talk about the pinch for a second because we're on that topic. What I typically do is I kind of, what you want to do is you kind of want to roll the finger over on its side just a hair. It's really hard on the wrist, and you'll notice that it's really difficult to go completely flat like this. So what you kind of want to do is you kind of want to roll the finger over on its side just a little bit. You'll notice that, like, if you look at my fingers, kind of the strings are kind of coming in about right in here on kind of about of the finger, like that. Okay. And then the other thing that you want to do is thumb placement on the back is kind of really, really important, okay? So you'll notice that the back of the neck, it creates kind of what we call a half moon, right? What you want to do is you want your thumb to kind of be on the bottom of the half moon pushing up, not at the top pushing down. The reason for that is because, at least for me anyway, is because what I find is that, you know, you've got two knuckles right here on the finger, right? And what happens is that as my thumb comes up, look what it does to my finger. It makes my finger want to bend. It makes this knuckle want to bend. And the problem with that is that it's strong on top, but by the time I get to the bottom, because I can't keep my finger straight, I get these thumpy sounds and stuff down here because I'm not able to push down on the strings at the bottom. I only have the top. The top is only strong. So what I find is if I lower my thumb, and I bring my pinch in kind of more towards the bottom, it keeps my finger more straight, okay? So that way I have an even, straight, clean bar going all the way across that fret like that, okay? And then one of the things that you'll notice is that the pinch should be coming kind of in onto this second knuckle right here, okay? So when I'm pushing in from the back with my thumb, I'm kind of pushing into this second knuckle right here, okay? And what that will do is if I have the bottom strong right in here, then the top will be strong too because I can keep my finger straight all the way up, okay? So when you play the pinch or when you play a bar, you should have a strong, clean sound on all 6 strings going all the way from top to bottom, okay? Like that. If you're not getting a strong pinch, and you're getting something kind of like this, or you're getting thumpies or something like that, you need to reevaluate kind of what you're doing. And what you want to do is just make sure that you're getting a strong bar all the way across the whole neck consistently, okay? Now, one exercise that you can do that's a really good exercise to do is to take the pinch and just practice moving it around like this, okay? One of the things that you'll notice that I'm doing when I'm moving around is I'm not releasing my whole hand like this, okay? What I'm doing is I'm just applying the pressure, pushing down a little, then I'm releasing the pressure, and I'm moving, then I'm pinching again. Then I'm releasing, move, pinch. Release, move, pinch. Okay, so you kind of see that? So you're kind of doing this. Okay, and just kind of practice that. Just kind of practice moving that pinch around and getting that really good pinch, really good sound, and being comfortable with that, okay? So that's the first thing that you kind of want to do with bars, okay? Once you kind of get good with the whole pinch concept and being able to move around and get that going, then what you do is you start bringing these back fingers in to get the rest of the chord in there, okay? Now, all you're basically doing is you're taking the open chord, okay, and you're moving it up on the neck like this, which is the reason why if you don't know your open chords, you got to go learn your open chords first because you can't play bars if you don't know the open chords, okay? Okay, so now let's talk about how to find them, okay? So if I asked you right now, I said, okay, I want you to memorize 108 chords, okay? You'd probably look at me like you're crazy. Okay, because originally I would have thought the same thing, okay? But there's a way to memorize 108 chords really, really simple if you use the system, the things that I'm trying to teach you, okay? And here's why. What you're basically doing when you play a bar chord is you're looking for the root note, okay? So the type of chord that I'm playing, okay, when I play an E major chord, I know the type of chord that I'm playing because I've played this before, right? So what type of chord is this? Well, it's a major chord. What type of chord is this? This is a minor chord. What type of a chord is this? It's a 7 chord. Okay, so remember that the type never changes. If I'm playing a 7 chord, it's always a 7 chord. If I play a major, it's always a major. If I play a minor, it's always a major. It doesn't matter where I'm playing it on the neck. It's always a 7 major or a minor chord. Okay, so really the only thing that I have to look for in order to know what it is that I'm playing or where I want to go is the root note. Okay, so when I play an E major chord, remember the root note, if you've watched my other video on how to find the root notes on the neck, okay, is the first E, okay? So for instance, if I'm playing an E major chord, the first E note that I have in what's called the bass position, or the first root note that I have in the bass position, is right here on the 6th string. That's the first E. So that means that my root note is the E, which is right here in open position, okay? So now if I take that note and I bar this chord, okay, and I take this E note and I move it up a half step, now what note am I on? Well, I'm on an F, right? So it goes from E to F. So I put my bar there and I play my E chord, and now I look for the root note, which is right there, which is an F, right? And I know the type of chord that I'm playing because it's always the same. I'm still playing a major chord. So this would be an F major, okay? So that's an F major chord, okay? If I go up another half step, I go to the black note, which would now be what? F sharp major, and G major, and G sharp major, and it just goes up one half step at a time, okay? Notice that the root note keeps shifting with me, so go up a half step to F, go up a half step to F sharp, go up a half step to G, go up a half step to G sharp, go up a half step to A, and then I just look at the type of chord that I'm playing, which is a major chord, so I know it's a major chord because it's always a major. So this would be an A major. Okay, if I play the minor chord, the E minor chord on the 5th fret, it would be E, F, G, A minor. Okay, and then the same thing, if I play the E7 chord on the 5th fret, E, F, G, A, that would be a A7. Okay, because I'm playing an E7 chord, but on the 5th fret. Remember, the type always stays the same. Okay, now, remember that 108 chord thing? Well, here's why. Because if I know how to find notes on the neck, it's really, really simple, because I go, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. There's 12 notes in an octave, right? So if you remember, the double dot on your neck symbolizes the octave, and then what does it do? It starts all over again, right? So the double dot signifies the octave, and what it basically means is that you come back to where you started from. So if I'm at E open, I'm back to E at the double dot, okay? So there's 12 notes in an octave, which means that in bar chord terminology, if I can play that E chord 12 times, right? Because there's 12 notes, so that's 12 chords. Okay, now I can do the same thing with the minor chord, 12 times, another 12 chords. Do the same thing with the E7 chord, 12 times, okay? So how many chords is that? Just on the E string by itself, between majors, minors, and 7s, that's 36 chords. Okay, see how simple that is? So see, just by knowing what note I'm playing and what type I'm playing, knowing by the root note and the type, I just basically memorized or learned how to play 36 chords just like that. Okay? Okay, so now we can do the exact same thing for the A chords. So if I'm playing an A major, an A minor, and an A7, okay? Now, where is my root note? Well, my root note is the first A note that I come to in what's called the bass position, okay? Which would be right here, because it goes E and then A, right? So the A is right there, so that's my root note. So when I play an A major chord, my root is the A note, which is right here. If I play an A minor, root note's in the same spot. If I play an A7, root note's in the same spot, still the A. Okay? So, for instance, here's my A major, minor, and 7, and I do the exact same thing. Now I take my A major chord, and I start moving it up the neck, one half step at a time. So this would be A major. If I go up a half step, A sharp major, B major, C major, C sharp major, D major, and so on, 12 times, right? Because there's 12 notes in an octave. And then at the double dot, I'm back to A again. Starts over. Okay, then I do the same thing. Major, minors, and 7s. That's 12 each, right? 36 more chords just by playing my A chords, like learning my A chords on the A root or the A note, okay? A string, okay? So we've got 36 more chords right there in the A forms, okay? Now we can do the same thing with the D chords. We got D major, D minor, D7. But now where's my root note going to be? Well, the root note is going to be what note? If I'm playing D chords, what note is my root? It's D, which is the 4th string right here, because that's the D, okay? So we got E, A, D, right? Okay, so the D is right here. When I play those D chords, that's where my root is. That's the note that I'm looking for, okay? So when I start moving those D chords up the neck, it would go D, E, F, G, A, and so on, right? All the way up the neck until I get to the octave. There's 12 notes in an octave. Do the exact same thing. I've got 12 majors I can play. I got 12 minors I can play. I got 12 7s that I can play. That's 36 more chords. Well, what's 36 plus 36 plus 36? Well, we have 108 chords. There you go. So by learning 9 chords, which you already know, E major minor 7, A major minor 7, D major minor 7, but learning the system of how to find the root note and the type of chord that you're playing, you can learn, or relatively very, very quickly, you can figure out how to play 108 chords just like that by just looking at where you are and looking for that root note. Does that make sense? Okay, so one of the things that I want you guys to practice, okay, practice playing a chord up on the neck, like for instance this, if I play an E major chord on the 3rd fret. And then practice finding the root note. So I'm playing an E chord, which means that I'm going to be looking on the E string, which is the root. Find that note, which if I'm on the 3rd fret is a G, right? Because E, F, G. So this would be a G major, okay? So that's a G major chord. So I can play a G major chord here, or I can play a G major chord here, okay? Now I can also play a G major chord on the A string. So I would find the G on the A string. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So right here on the 10th fret is where the G is on the A string. So if I'm on the A string, what kind of a chord am I going to play? I'm going to play an A chord. So that means that I would play an A major chord right there. And now I have a G right here. I can do the same thing for the D chord. Where's the G at on the D chord? Well, the G on the D chord is right there, right? Because it goes D, E, F, G. So that's where my bar is going to go. And now I play a D chord. And now I'm playing a G major, because I'm playing a D major. I'm playing a G major in the D form, or with using a D chord up on the neck. Okay, so this would be a G here. Okay, so see, you can see there's 4 places where I can play that G. I can play it in open. Okay, I can play it as an E chord. I can play it as an A chord. Okay, and I can play it as a D chord right there. Okay, so the more you practice this, the better you'll get at it. Okay, but another thing that you can kind of do is pick an open chord, any open chord. So say like, I want to play an E minor. Go play it in open position, and then go practice finding it somewhere else. Okay, so be like, okay, well, where else can I play an E minor? Well, what if we play it as on the A string? So A, B, C, D, E. Okay, play it as an A minor right there. Now I have an E minor chord on the neck. See how easy that is? Really cool. Now, the one thing that it does change by moving around with all these different chords in different positions, it changes what's called the voicing of the chord, which I don't know if you can hear it or not, but some of these chords are higher, they have different octaves in them, they have different chords, different note stackings. The way that those notes are stacked and things like that, that's the change up of all of that makes a difference in how it sounds, and it's called the voicing of the chord, okay? And we'll get more into that a little bit later. I'll do a different lesson with that, okay? But for now, just practice doing that. Practice your pinch, moving it around, having a strong pinch, okay? Then practice taking these open chords and being able to play them up on the neck, and then practice finding what it is that you're doing. Remember those 108 chords that you can learn, okay? Either between the A's, the E's, and the D's, okay? Between those 3 chords, so you got E major minor 7, major minor 7, major minor 7 with the E's, A's, and D's. Practice taking those 9 chords, right, and playing them up on the neck to find that combination and learn how to play 108 chords very, very easily, okay? And if you can do that, it will unlock your neck and make playing up on the neck fairly easy, and you'll be able to get around. And you won't be one of those guitar players that's stuck down here in open position their whole life like a lot of people, okay? You'll be able to like get around on the neck and do some fun things, okay? Awesome, guys. If you have any questions or anything, text me or give me a call, okay? And we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.